Hello everyone. Today on the Sports Trigger we're going to be discussing the best conference and college basketball as we stand. It's a little midsummer, hype up before, we get in the home stretch of college football. Travis, are you ready to go?
Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Sports Trigger for today's episode. Travis, let's get us started off. Who are you going with? Best college basketball conference as we stand right now.
ACC. They are top of the college basketball world right now. Not necessarily saying they're going to stay there for long, but as far as their depth, they obviously have plenty of teams. Not saying that's the main thing, but when you look at not even the top teams, which is obviously Duke, UNC, Louisville. But if you look at the middle of the pack, there are a lot of teams that are starting to actually show progress, a la Wake Forest. They came close to making the tourney this past year. Virginia Tech came close. And you know what? I'm actually going to have to put Syracuse at the middle of the pack right now just because they haven't done anything for me lately.
You didn't even mention your team, Notre Dame.
Yeah, I thought that was a given. They're at the very top of the conference.
Complete hogwash because this is a complete homer pick. I mean, an absolute homer pick. You can't get any more homer than this. Picking your own team's conference as the best one right now.
When we just won the national title. I should say UNC won the national title.
That was one team.
In the ACC, so they are the best right now, hands down.
Where did Duke finish? They got pretty far, right?
I don't even know if they made the Sweet 16. I don't think they made the Sweet 16.
I don't think they did.
No.
And you know what? So they were completely overhyped. So I'm going to go with the whole conference is overhyped.
No. That team was definitely overhyped, but not the whole conference. Not like it was in the Big East, say, I think 2009-ish, where they set the NCAA record or tied it for most teams to make a tourney, which Notre Dame was part of. I definitely agree that whole conference was way overhyped. But this past year, I would say Duke definitely was because of the type of recruits they had, but not the conference as a whole.
Yeah, well, ESPN had a love affair with the old Big East teams because I don't know if you ever watched the 30 for 30. Actually, ESPN had it on their show how the Big East built ESPN. Like ESPN was nothing. Right. So they've always had this love affair for all those teams. You're like, the Big East is great all the time. Same thing with the ACC because, you got Dick Vitale always saying Duke's going to win it every year. So you have that love affair there, and I think that's why the Big East gets overhyped all the time. But I am going to go with the Big East now, Travis. I mean,
okay.
You got Butler in there. They're a gritty team. You got Xavier, who made a huge run this year, basically because one player scored like 30 to 35 points all the time. Trayvon Blewett, even though, they got away with some, I don't know, they played really well. So
they had a lot of controversy at the end of the year too with injuries and then people leaving the program and whatnot, right?
Yeah, well, I think they had a guy that was arrested at some point or something along those lines. Then, who else you got in there? Marquette's on there. Villanova, right?
Yeah,
Villanova. Providence they're a streaky team. They're that one team that has that one really good player who goes off. It's either them or Seton Hall. Both of those guys have that one streaky player that gets really good at the end of the season, and then everybody's like, oh, watch out, they're my sleeper, and then they end up not making it very far in the tournament.
What about Georgetown? You have high hopes with Georgetown with the new coach hiring?
Yeah, that tall guy, what's his name? Patrick Ewing, right? Yeah.
Never heard of him.
Me neither. I think the last memory I have of Patrick Ewing was him missing a layup to send the Pacers into the NBA Finals, actually.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So that's my last memory of him. So if you can't hit layups, then you're probably not going to be a great coach.
Yes, exactly.
Especially if you're 7-1, 7-2. I mean, if you can't just lay the ball in, you're above the rim as it is. So
fundamentals. You thought he would have been taught that when going to Georgetown.
Yeah, and then, he tried to help Dwight Howard out at one point, right? That didn't really work out either. So I don't know how he's going to do a great job. And I don't know, he just seems like he's awkward when he's talking, so I don't know what he's saying to these recruits. I mean, you're walking into recruits that are like, sometimes 16, 17 years old, and they're like, oh, come play for us. So, I don't know if he's going, the intimidation style of, hey, come play for Georgetown. Otherwise, I'm 7'2", and, off the books, I might do something. I don't know, rough him up or something like that. I don't know his style. He doesn't come across as a tough guy, though.
It's too bad that Mutombo didn't go there, because he could just wave his finger and people will know that they're doing something wrong. That would be great. Patrick Ewing, I don't know. Like you said, he definitely seems very awkward, and I've heard him in interviews as well, and I don't know how it's going to turn out with that hire.
Yeah. But all in all, I have the Big East, especially if Georgetown starts making their way back up, and Marquette's kind of a wild shot. They're decent, but never over exceed or under succeed. They're always right there in the middle, just barely get in, a 8 to 10 seed or something like that. But they'll sneak 1 or 2 wins out of there. So they're a dangerous team. But I do like Butler at the top. Xavier's been consistent, and then Villanova, obviously. But it will be interesting going forward. But I do see them being better as a conference as a whole than the ACC. I mean, all you named was Duke, UNC, really. Louisville,
Louisville's going to be a sneaky good team this year. A lot of people are high on Louisville with who's coming back, and obviously the recruits that are coming in. I definitely like Louisville, and Miami's another sneaky team in there as well, because remember, who's the head coach? The head coach that was there when they made that little run in March Madness several years ago and made it to the Final Four. What are you going to do? He just knows how to coach. I don't care how old he is. He knows how to coach. Just like Bill Snyder in Kansas State for football. It's the same type of coach, if you ask me.
One conference that is absolutely garbage, though?
SEC.
Yeah, the SEC.
Yeah.
Absolute
I know.
Garbage. You got Kentucky, and they coast through the year. Florida's been okay since Billy Donovan. Last year they had a really good record or something like that? I think it was last year.
Florida? I think so.
The year before. And then, and outside of that, they've been pretty much trash throughout the
You do have to give them credit that they are getting some better coaches in there, a la Avery Johnson. I'll give Bruce Pearl the nod because I thought he did pretty well at Tennessee when he was there. Before he's now with Auburn, of course. I'm not high on Rick Barnes whatsoever at Tennessee, but it does seem like they're getting better coaching at least.
Yeah, I think maybe not this next year, but a year from now, they're going to be really deep. They're going to be a really deep league in general, because I think Alabama is here to stay with Avery Johnson at least being competitive. You got Bruce Pearl over at Auburn. They'll be good. I think Rick Barnes will at least make Tennessee competitive throughout. And then you'll still have Kentucky. You'll still have Florida. Florida will be decent. What about Missouri, too?
With that top recruit going in there, right?
You know what? Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. That's this year. So actually, you know what? They might challenge for best and deepest league this next year, actually. I'll put that
It could happen. It could happen.
They probably have the most NBA talent in one conference out of all of them, because Kentucky will have 7. So
and Arkansas is sneaky in there. Sometimes Arkansas can get in there, every couple of years. They have some sneaky players.
Yeah, you know what? So as much hate as I put towards SEC, I'm going to put them as, for this next year, they will be the best conference.
Oh, wow. Whoa. Hold your horses there.
I'm going to turn from garbage to sunlight there for them. They are going to be the best and deepest conference this next year. They're going to have... 6.
You've been in the South too long. You've been in the South too long.
The sun's getting to me, but I guarantee they're probably going to have 6 really solid teams. Kentucky, Florida, Alabama, Missouri. I'm going to throw in, let's go Auburn and Tennessee. 6 teams. Boom. There you heard it.
August 7th, 2017, Jared picks SEC as deepest and best conference. Yeah. I'm marking this down. This is marked down.
All right, we called it here. So with that being said, guys, thanks a lot for hearing our episode today on the Sports Trigger, and until next time.